Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. Glad the weather worked out for us, right? I'm KJ Hughes. I am the managing partner and visionary behind Manifest.
All right.
Extremely humbled to be here today, kicking off DC Small Business Week. I grew up right here in Ward 1. I'm a third-generation Washingtonian, and I'm grateful to be a part of a growing business community. Definitely a dream come true. Being a lifelong entrepreneur has come with extreme highs and debilitating lows. But the experiences my partners and I have had are what have inspired and shaped this. Manifest is a cultural destination for expert services, supreme quality products, and an unrivaled experience. Through premium offerings of grooming, retail, coffee, and cocktails, Manifest is a point of discovery, exchange, and restoration. You deserve to be here, and we remind you of that every time.
Amen.
For many of us black-owned businesses, it's no secret that we face many obstacles. The amount of favors I had to ask God for on this one, man, it's crazy. But I'm grateful that the great weight of this ANC was no match for what was written. Thank you to some great leaders, Sean Townsend, Tony Lewis Jr., Silas Grant, and John Hart, who helped me navigate some treacherous regulatory waters. This wouldn't be here without you. I heard another black entrepreneur say once, mentorship is nice, advice is cool, but where's the money? There's no equity without economic equity. I'm thankful to M&T for giving us a small loan for construction. The rest, we bootstrapped. Literally, the week before we opened, my mom had to loan me $3,000 for us to get open. Mayor Bowser recognized the funding challenges that small businesses face and created the Inclusive Innovation Equity Impact Fund to create more access to capital opportunities for businesses like mine. With this funding, we'll hire additional team members, provide adequate training to be able to continue to deliver a luxury experience, and, God willing, we'll explore opening more locations here in the district.
All right.
Now, I have the honor of introducing the fearless leader, Mayor Bowser. Thank you for recognizing our business and believing in us and investing in us. Everyone, please give a welcome to Mayor Muriel Bowser.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Let's give KJ a big round of applause. And thank you to KJ's mom. Where's mom? It's that last money that comes in sometimes that makes all the difference. And so today we're talking about some of that money that should come before that. We're also kicking off Small Business Week in Washington, D.C. Let's hear it for our small businesses. And if you notice, I have a special ring on from the Washington Spirit because we are the District of Champions. So I thought I would wear it on my way to the Wilson building where I'll display it in the cabinet. So what KJ talked about was how you manifest dreams. He talked about how entrepreneurs take a different path. They have an idea. Sometimes I think they try to put the idea to the side because they know how hard it is and how much sacrifice it's going to take. But that idea, it just keeps popping to the top until it manifests itself in this form. And when I walked in, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to experience, but I can say it exceeded anything I could have thought in terms of what a barbering experience with coffee and cocktails and food can be. Sounds like a good place to be. And so what we are here to talk about today is how businesses can get off the ground, whether it's construction or technology or hiring or finding the right product. It all takes money. And so that is why, with the support of the DC Council, we established a $1.25 million fund called the Inclusive Innovation Equity Impact Fund. And with the help of our partners at 1863 Ventures, we did, hi 1863. We designed the fund to address gaps in capital for those that would otherwise not receive early stage funding through conventional avenues. And so at the end of the day, this fund is about giving DC residents their fair shot at opening a business in our city. We opened the applications for this fund back in October, and today, as we kick off Small Business Week, we are announcing our first round of grant recipients. And not only are we going to talk about the recipients who will get their investment today, we're going to open the second round for applications today at 3 p.m. So stay tuned. So all of this is really aimed at making DC residents first in line for investment opportunities. A few weeks ago, we were at the Tsunami Hair Salon in Ward 7. There, we highlighted how we're using the Commercial Property Acquisition Fund. Last week, we launched the Small Business Growth Fund to help DC-based businesses expand. We also launched the Robust Retail Grant to help existing retail businesses maintain their operations. And in a few days, we'll also announce our annual Great Streets Retail Small Business Grant. So there's quite a lot going on, and we know our retailers require quite a lot. As we are in our recovery phase, we know a lot of our retail businesses were hit the hardest, but what I've also noticed, they were thinking really hard about pivoting. They were using their creativity to figure out how they were going to come back bigger and better. They were opening new outlets, and some of them were already thinking about, who are here in Northwest, thinking about how they could expand to Southeast. And that is our vision. And that's how we're going to make sure more people and more Black people are building wealth right here in DC. So we want people to think about, if they're leasing a building, how they're going to buy a building. If they have one storefront, we want them to think about how they're going to have 3 storefronts or 12, like Andy Shalal here, who had an idea that just keeps growing and growing. But I'd rather invest in the little guy who's doing well in one place to do really well in a lot of places in Washington, D.C. So let's get that work done together. Now I'm pleased to introduce Art Stevens from 1863.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is fantastic, right? This is what we're just so excited about. I'm Art Stevens, but I'm here representing Melissa Bradley, our founder, and the entire team at 1863 Ventures. We could not be more grateful to Mayor Bowser, to Deputy Mayor DiCiccio, to all the terrific people at DemPed. I think we also have Christy Whitfield. We've got an amazing group of people, Jocelyn Sabongle, helping put this together, because as terrific as today is, it's only a start. We have to continue this effort. 1863 Ventures started 6 years ago. Our first 500 companies we touched in the district area, about a year and a half, we're over 3,000 now, and it's not enough. We know there's got to be more. The challenges and the gaps we're aware of in capital are acutely affecting DC in the same way they affect the rest of the company, and we heard from KJ's country. But this is a special place, and we have the power to change that. We're also grateful to the 16 businesses who are being recognized here today, because they're our future. They're the ones on the ground doing the work every day. I have the privilege of working with them and getting to know them, and they are amazing, amazing people. Well, their values to this community goes well beyond their business. They are true neighbors and true pioneers. The funds are an investment, not a grant, because we have confidence in their ability to grow and scale, and we want to recycle this capital into the community to keep that growth and scale continuing. Beyond the money, we look forward to providing training and assistance and coaching and partnership and an occasional shoulder to cry on and everything else you all need to get where you need to go to grow and scale. We want to thank again the city for its leadership, and we're just thrilled to be part of this effort in growing and scaling the businesses in Washington, D.C. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Art. I'm John Falchicchio, and I have the pleasure of serving as Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. So first off, let's thank the Mayor for pulling us together today. But also, Art just highlighted a big difference between this and a lot of other programs that Sabango and I work on. Today, we're a duet, by the way. We're not going to sing, don't worry. But with that, we work on a lot of programs to actually get grants and loans out to businesses. What's different about this is actually an investment. And it actually comes to us from direction from Mayor Bowser to figure out how we actually are the early stage investor in companies, right? And I see some entrepreneurs shaking their heads. And you know that when you go out to seek investment, people sometimes say, well, who's investing with you? And now you can say, Mayor Bowser and the city of Washington, D.C. So let's give a round of applause for that. So today we're here at Manifest, but we've actually got businesses from all 8 wards who are receiving this investment. So why don't we go through them and please applaud. This is not one of those areas where you don't applaud. So from Ward 8, City Life Development. Okay. Halema, Mortel Industries. Ward 7, Tsunami Hair Studio. MW Consulting. Dion Samad LLC. Ward 6, New Era Ventures. Ward 5, there's a lot from Ward 5. Et Olivia, Fuhini, Green Panther Cafe, and Princess Moon Dance Institute. Ward 4, Federal Contractors Inc., Zambali Networks. Ward 2, Bonti, and Ward 1, Homemade in D.C., and of course, Manifest. So let's give all the winners a big round of applause. Next time you have a meeting with an investor, you're going to say, who's your most recent investor? Mayor Bowser in Washington, D.C. So listen, Mayor mentioned a lot of different programs that we have, and we list all of those programs at obviouslydc.com. So if you're an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, or know someone who is, make sure that they know about all the tools that we have to offer. Obviouslydc.com is that website. It's really simple to remember. Let's also make sure, actually I see an Obviously DC t-shirt in the back. We got to get some more of those printed up too. There we go. So we'll do that. But also, before I end, I want to also thank Councilmember McDuffie. So we've actually gone through a couple iterations with this program. We know business owners like to pivot or sometimes have to pivot, and we had to do that with this program. And Councilmember McDuffie stood with us each and every step of the way as we tried to figure this out. It's rare that a government invests directly into businesses, so we had to make sure that we kept it all legal. And we have a great team at DemPed who helps us do that. Susan Longstreet's our lead attorney in the Office of General Counsel. And there's a lot of joy today. There's a lot of joy today. This also is because...
Everybody knows who that is.
Everybody's clapping. The entrepreneurs are clapping because they all know Joy James, who helped put this together, who made sure that when we made those pivots, we found a way to make sure that it did what it was supposed to do, which is show that we believe in our entrepreneurs, our small businesses. So on behalf of DemPed, make sure you check out obviouslydc.com. And on behalf of KJ, a reminder that it is Mother's Day on Sunday, so shop at our small businesses and make sure that you thank moms for all that they do. All right.
All right. All right. I don't know if there's much more to say, but today that's not the only announcement that we have. That was $1.25 million worth of investment dollars through this fund. There's another announcement through the Department of Small and Local Business Development, where we'll be announcing a multitude of other recipients. So tune in today. You'll hear about those recipients of the Equity Impact Enterprise Fund. Those are businesses that got awarded up to $5,000 worth of grant money. And so you'll see more about that. You'll tune in to DSLBD, their website, their social media. You'll hear more about those recipients. We can't call them all out today because it's a very long list. So happy to and delighted to also share that. Again, you heard the Deputy Mayor mention that the FY22 Robust Retail Grant is open. So make sure you take advantage of that. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. Also, again, another grant opportunity, the Small Medium Business Growth Fund is open right now. Keep clapping. Absolutely. So when you start tallying in the back of your mind the investments, we've been throwing numbers out here, but has anybody added it up yet? I mean, seriously, have you started adding it up? We're not at the end of this. We already talked about Great Streets, that's $3.3 million. This Equity Impact Fund, that's $1.7 million. The announcement that the Deputy Mayor made with all of these new recipients, that was $1.12 million. There's an opening, the new grant is open, that's another $1.1 million. Anybody adding it up? Oh, we're at 5, 6, 7. We can keep going. I just thought I would share. Yeah, so that's what's happening, right? What did he say? You say we're at 8? Is it 8? Thank you. My adding is a little slow. I see the pumps. Yes, exactly. So this is a great way to kick off Small Business Week. Everything we've talked about is small business, right? We know this is the backbone of our local economy. Have y'all just heard all of the numbers again? I'm going to say that again. Thank you. Yes, exactly. So we want to make sure that as we're kicking off Small Business Week, yes, we have all these great grant and investment opportunities, but there are a sundry of different activities that are happening during this week. I ask you to take advantage of some of the workshops, virtual sessions. There are all kinds of events happening this week and even next week, educational opportunities. You can hear more about these funding opportunities, but opportunities to help these small businesses grow. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay, I'm going to stop there. I want to congratulate everyone from both of these funds. The other round 2 is open. Small Medium Business Growth Fund is open, and the equity. And the what's the other grant? The Robust Retail open. 3 grant opportunities that are open today. Yes. Anybody going to take a look at those? Do you know where to go? What did you guys have some homework? I think that's it. Yeah. All right.
Well, this is a good announcement. So I'm so grateful to all our small business owners. I know, I always leave my notes too. And so now we're happy to answer any questions, and then we'll get some pictures.
Right here, Mayor. Bill, right
Any
here.
questions? Yep, Sam?
Just on this or on anything?
On topic first.
Well, we're here to talk about small businesses, but you can start with something else.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with noise.
Okay.
In a number of parts of D.C., for some reason, northeast in the Langdon neighborhood, in my neighborhood on Capitol Hill, we heard a lot of music over the weekend, and it seemed to go on into the night. One man said that he and his neighbors were out at 10:45 last night complaining, and they'd call the police. What can you tell us about this situation?
Well, there was a big festival on the grounds of RFK. It was dance music, EDM, a lot of boom, boom, boom. And apparently there was some mix of the music with the weather system that bounced the sound further than anybody could have anticipated. One thing I do want to check into is how late it was going. And typically, events like that would end at 10. So that's something I want to look into. But I know a lot of people were disturbed by it, so we certainly regret that. And I'm going to check and see about the lateness of the hour as well.
It was definitely after 10.
I've heard that it was after 10, maybe even up till 11. I think the standard time for those events to end is 10. And it appears that they were granted more time than 10 in their applications with Events DC.
So that's who was in charge of it? I mean,
yes, it was at RFK, which, as you know, is operated.
DCRA.
Well, DCRA doesn't promote events, so it was hosted by in an arrangement with the RFK.
Well,
Yeah.
could I just follow up on that for
Sure.
So did Events DC give the promoter permission to go later than 10
I
o'clock?
think so, Mark, but I'm going to do some digging into that today.
I mean, without notification to the community?
Well,
I mean,
I'm pretty sure there was notice about the event, and I don't want to sugarcoat this. Nobody certainly would expect an event at RFK to reverberate for miles and miles. And so let us figure out how we can dig into it. We want festivals to happen. We want live music. We want people to have a good time. But we want people to be able to enjoy some peace and quiet as well. So let us do some digging into that and get you some answers. But preliminarily, it looks like it was allowed to go until 11.
If I could ask a couple about today's event.
Sure.
I appreciate that. So you used, and Deputy Mayor used the term investment, and I'm just wondering, what do DC taxpayers now own some shares in all of these businesses that one day will be able to sell our stocks or get a return? I mean, I understand there are two kinds of investments that the government does, but this, you seem to be saying like this is a fiscal, the Deputy Mayor is nodding his head.
Tom to,
Thank you.
I mean, John.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, these are, we call all of these investments, but the district does not own any shares. The district is not allowed to invest in business that way where you're talking about shares. To be more plainly, these are grant dollars. But all grant dollars are investments in helping grow businesses.
And then could I just ask, who qualifies? How do you qualify? And then how much is available in the next round of grants that's being announced?
What's available in the next round is another $1.25 million as a part of the program. The entity that is supporting this for us, 1863 Ventures, they doubled the amount of money that we had given them. So now we're in a second round.
The qualifications?
Those are, I can't list those offhand off the top, but they're certainly on our website, and I'm happy to provide that to you after this press conference is over.
Anything else?
Another off-topic.
Okay.
Mayor.
Let me get finished with the press questions, ma'am, and I'll come right to you. Yeah.
So late this two just off-topic questions. Late this afternoon, you're going to have another press conference with Dr. Nesbitt. Could you give us just, a brief summary of, why the importance of this task force and what the mission of this task force will be?
Yes. So, as you know, the pandemic kind of wreaked havoc on some big segments of employee groups in our country, and you won't be surprised that healthcare workers are among the hardest hit. People who have been in healthcare, whether allied health professionals or nurses, choosing to do different jobs, which is putting a huge strain on our whole healthcare system. So we really want, if you go to any hospital in this city, they will tell you that their chief number one concern is being able to find nurses. And so I can go at any point in this city, and a lot of concerns that people have are around affordability. And we have a lot of residents who may be looking for a different career path as well. So we want to match that high need that we have for healthcare professionals, especially nurses, good paying jobs with DC residents. So we want to work with industry. We want to work with community. We want to work with higher ed to figure out how we can make those things happen in a sustainable way. Yep.
And then I lied about which I have two actually more. One, could we see the ring again, and could you tell us about the ring? You just kind of flashed it kind of quickly. If the cameras could get a shot of that.
So last night I went to Audi Field. In Audi Field, as you know, DC residents invested in. And we invested in it because we want the world sport to be played in our city. DC United has been incredibly successful there, and now the Washington Spirit is playing at Audi Field. And we celebrated with them last night the championship that they won last fall. So we like to celebrate women and girls and always in our city. I see a lot of women up front actually are entrepreneurs and grant recipients. But also when our girls can see these athletes who are working and earning and playing the sport that they love in a world-class facility, it means a lot. Their new owner, Michelle, was also present. She became the first woman of color to be a major league owner in Major League Soccer for women. And she and the team, produced these beautiful rings for the players and coaches. I accepted it on behalf of 700,000 Washingtonians. And so it will join a cabinet at City Hall where we celebrate our other championships.
Very.
Yep.
Is there any update on the investigation into the school shooter at Edmund Burke as students possibly return this week? What do you know anything more about his
We
intentions?
don't have anything more. As you know, the FBI is our partner in looking at his devices and anything more we know about his background, Mark. And I don't have anything to add to what the chief said. All right, anything else? Yes, Community Press, could you introduce yourself, and then I'm going to turn to community questions.
Oh, press.
Okay, community, this young lady here, 1, 2, and then 3. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the small and medium business grant.
Yes, ma'am.
Construction companies are excluded from that. So I wanted to see if there was something coming up that maybe construction companies could take advantage of, especially the technology component.
Okay, let's
And
look at
and
our
the capital equipment.
All right, I'm going to turn to Saban Galay to talk about that. And it's always good when we get feedback. As you notice, we are rapidly responding to our needs. And if it's not this program, it may be another program that fits.
Thank you, Mayor. So as the Mayor mentioned, we have different kinds of funding opportunities. There's no one grant or program that is a silver bullet, right? So if you're talking about construction opportunities or development opportunities, we do have different funding mechanisms that are available as well. Those will be launching again latter part of this year, going into fiscal year 23. That's our Neighborhood Prosperity Fund. That's one of them that I would urge you to take a look at. That's one of the major ones that we typically allow developers, construction companies to participate in as they're thinking about what type of projects they're exploring. So happy to give you some more details on that.
Yes, ma'am.
I actually had a question about the cannabis industry.
Yes, ma'am.
And if there are any advances being made for inclusion for, people that have not been included in this
Sure.
industry.
Okay, so the question was about cannabis and how we can make it a more inclusive system. And I hate to have to start with this response, but we need the president and the Congress to get with the program. I don't know another way to say it, but they are blocking us from a tax and regulate system. So basically, we have a medical cannabis regime and program, and we have the illegal market. And my chief concern is not just for safe, regulated, and taxed business, but also for public safety. And right now, our system does not promote a safe city. So we're going to keep working with our lawmakers to make that right and get rid of this rider that I think is dangerous for the city. Furthermore, the council has talked about some new legislation, part of which I support, and that is to help more people self-certify their medical conditions so that they are going to licensed and regulated establishments in the medical cannabis industry. The bill that I also have before the council that it looks ahead to when we can tax and regulate, focuses on how we can have a more equitable market. And there was a question here.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
Thank you for all the work that you guys do for small businesses. I wanted to ask if there are any specific sectors that you're looking to grow and fund more than others in DC that you think DC is a great fit for. And So yeah, that's the first question.
Sure. And so and it's a great question because when we think about our economy, how we come back for COVID, of course, we want to all of the employees that we had to come back and go in person as much as possible, but we also are attracting new businesses, and people want to live in D.C. They want to work in D.C. We know that a lot of folks look at our tech industry, especially small businesses that want to start, women-owned businesses that want to start, are finding that D.C. to be a great place to start because there are a lot of supports and there's a lot of talent. And so women in tech and all over. So we've been focused on that. Healthcare, cybersecurity. These are all high demand fields in the district. We're also very focused on infrastructure jobs and infrastructure work. We have $3 billion more coming to the district that we're going to expend in the next 5 years. So we need talent. And this is from everything from engineers to architects to people who do compliance, you name it. We need a lot of smart people, hardworking people, and not all of these jobs require a degree. So that helps us get more DC residents in good paying jobs to be able to raise their families right here in DC. Yeah.
Sorry. And second part of
Yeah.
my question is, I'm working on a startup that does plastic film recycling, and we require like a physical space that is like
Okay.
industrial style. And when we want to rent in the district, like a space that we can use that has like high clearance where we can put equipment, usually the industrial spaces have like long leases, like you have to commit to a lot of money. And if you're a startup and you're trying to start something that has like requires like large physical spaces, I've seen some places in Virginia, they're called maker spaces or ready spaces. Mm-hmm. It's like an industrial space, but it's like subdivided and you can rent a smaller space and you don't have to have a year commitment. So is there anything that we could use as a small business who requires like industrial space in the startup phase for like 6 months?
I got it.
And then, yeah, so
There
is
are
something
some
like that that you see?
examples in like the food making space that I know sounds like it fits what you're talking about. And I actually want to invite you to talk to Sambagnale a little bit more so that she can talk to you about the spaces she's aware of, or perhaps this is a new concept we need to encourage some people to get involved with. We also support it at Walter Reed, for example, maker spaces for people who are doing medical research that are shorter term and people can get in offices. But I hear the concern about space a lot. Now, we're going to be good at doing certain spaces.
Okay.
Now, if you want a big hangar space, that's not going to be something that we're going to be good at. But there's so many other things that we'll be able to help you look at.
Thank you.
Okay, there was one here.
Hi, I come from a city on the West Coast where I work on small business support, actually, and I'm just flabbergasted at this amazing press conference that I just happened to run into.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm just curious, what are the revenue sources for these programs?
For this one in particular, the district government is part of it, but also our investment partner is doing other parts. Some of the programs that we listed, they either come from our local dollars or they're a part of either our CARES recovery, CARES funding, or ARP recovery dollars. You're welcome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Please check out Manifest. Oh, there's a big check.